Hello again, everybody. Well, we are in Saltville, Virginia. Supposedly, it is the salt capital of the Confederacy, and look at this cool old downtown. Now, we are going to try to check out the Museum of the Middle Appalachia, but first, we're going to poke around a little bit, so let's see what we can see, shall we? Alright, well, it looks like we've got some kind of, I guess those would have been the buckets to have hauled the salt out of the mines. Now, I have no idea where the mines are in this area, but we are in a very small, very hilly area, so it's entirely possible that they're very close by. Just look at that. That looks really cool. There is a little museum here. I'm guessing it's for the trains, but looks like it is closed, and it should be. It is a Sunday. Look at that. It's a time capsule. Open 7/4/2076. I don't know how much we'll be able to see. Definitely is a museum of some kind, but they have fencing kind of stuff all around it. Well, this is plexi, so I can't really see through it that well. And they have restrooms, and there is a very, very cool train right here. Not 100% sure what these are. Some kind of kettles to cook in, or roast things in, or whatnot. I don't know what this little thing is, but let's take a look at this. Matheson Chemical Corporation. I'm guessing that's the group that had the salt mines, but just look at that. Okay, this is really cool. And they've got it fenced off, so unfortunately we can't get into it, but still. The Matheson Alkali Works. Rhode Island Locomotive Works, number 3030, Builders, Providence, Rhode Island. Huh. And this says number 5. And then we've got a rarity, a caboose. Double truss patented. N&W 27137. Huh. And you can see all the houses are just nestled in wherever they can be, and got a body of water down here. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but anyway, let's go see if we can get into this museum, shall we? Apologies again for the reflection, but you can see those buckets. Looks like they do reenactments too. So let's see if they're open. The entrance is over here. Well, we made it inside the museum. Now, there was a lady here, and she is pretty awesome, so I wish I remembered her name. I apologize in advance. She was very helpful and described a lot of things. They basically mine salt here using the water method, so you pump the water down, dissolve the salt, and the water comes back up. And somebody has built an absolutely amazing 3D map of the area you can see. And one of the cool things is if you look, you see these red buttons. Well, if you press the red button, lights light up. Now, this is the more modern natural gas storage and salt production. But back in the old days, you see all these little derricks down in here. That's where the original wells were. And so they pump the water up, they bring it up, and they evaporate it. Now, the kettles that I saw next to the train, those are what were used to, evaporate the water. So, and you can definitely see the line of where those buckets would have been. Now, as I go around the thing, if you want to come here, you've definitely got to check this place out. You can press the buttons and light all sorts of stuff up to find out things. I mean, this is very useful to show things. And the Civil War had a couple of battles here because this was the only place where the Confederates could get salt in the area. So, but you can see that this is pretty amazing, and there is a lot of history here that predates all of the salt mines. They found things like the mastodon tooth. And one thing is pretty interesting. The present day well fields are right in there. And I want to say somewhere in here, I'll have to find the right button. Somewhere in here you will see a vein of the fault. Oh, here it is. So you can see the fault over there. And this is where the salt goes through the area. Anyway, so you can start and see all of the prehistory, I guess you could say. Now, I'm not going to hit the play button, but if you want to come here, I mean, before they even started digging for the salt, you had all of this history. And yes, while they haven't found a full skeleton, they have found fossils from the Ice Age. You can see that they've got a bunch of good fossils and some really big ones. And they found these in a dig. If you come back here, you can actually see overhead shots of different parts of the history. Now, they're not going to show up very well because the reflections in here are terrible, but it is worth coming in here just to look. And you focus on the early peoples. Some of these are pretty amazing. Smith County, Virginia. Then we go more into the history. And it focuses on the woodland period, ironically. So 900 to 1600. You can see that they have got a pretty amazing collection here. That is very cool. And then the Europeans arrive. A April of 1567. And there are some houses around here that are still around, or at least preserved as to where they are. Oh, and apologies for this ahead of time. I did not notice this. Up near the roof, you've got a date line, and they're core samples. And it actually breaks down the different times. That is cool. So we'll have to see if there's core samples in the other room too. Here was an early salt kettle. So this is when 1780s to 1860 is when the early salt mining happened. Pumped logs. And this is when people discovered things. Now I won't have a chance to get to the salt works or whatever, or here we go. The Battle of Saltville, Virginia. And they do have videos, but I'm going to have to hold off on that because I try not to record videos. You can see all the different weaponry. There's a section from 1924 talking about the Palmertown Muck Dam disaster. I'm assuming a dam gave way. This is an amazing little museum. It is off the beaten path. You definitely have to come here and take a look at this, because this is pretty cool. There's the Matheson Alkali Works. Pyro Bar. Eagle Thistle brand soda. United States Gypsum Company. So this shows they mine gypsum. I don't know how much this is going to show up. The reflections might be bad, but you can show that it goes down quite a ways. A coppered water pipe. Because back in the day, the water pipes were made out of wood. That is very cool. This is the steam whistle. I'm going to go around the other way from the Matheson Alkali Works. You'll be able to see it better without me coming in and shining it into the sun. Then we get to the more modern. Chlorine, hydrazine. And you got table and chairs from the Matheson drugstore. Man, those definitely date back. And I'm not going to hit it, but evidently Hobart Smith was pretty famous for playing his banjo in the area. company store built in 1894. Saltville Shakers. They definitely have pride in the town. Town's well kept. Most of the buildings still look to be used. And again, you have that core sample. Now, they just have dates with buckets on it, but the core samples pick back up again. That's what a chunk of natural salt looks like. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my little look at this really cool museum here in Saltville, Virginia. You definitely need to come up here and check out the place. It is well worth the trip off the beaten path. As always, I'm off to go on some more journeys. So until then, why don't you go on a journey of your own? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.